Here it comes. I'm sharing my screen with John, so I think he's showing the foam stone.
Yes.
Can everybody see that?
Yes, John.
Yes.
Okay. This is the foam stonefly. That's an Umpqua stonefly. And it was taught to me by this gentleman right here, Don Peterbaugh. And he was a signature fly tyer for Umpqua. And of course, as you know, Don passed away this past summer. So
Yes.
he was a great guy. All right. Let's see what I tied. All right. Now let's see if I can get this thing to work again. I'm not, unfortunately, all I have is something really weird. I have no controls.
Okay.
It looks like some kind of a.
There we go. There we go. Okay.
Yeah,
now,
I'm taking over control.
yeah. Thank you, Mick. That's a.
There you go.
There we go. Now I got it. Okay. So you can see me. Now let me see if which one of these cameras is the right one. There we go. That's what I'm going to try and tie tonight. And the materials I'm going to use, let me see if I can figure out how to do this camera. Yeah. I'm going to be using the recipe that Don showed me and taught me with was we use two different colors of hackle. We use the grizzly hackle and we use some just plain brown hackle. And it's palmered onto the fly from about a third of the way up. The wing of the fly, what he used was bleached elk hair. I don't have any bleached, but I do have some of this elk hair that I got from a taxidermist that's down near the belly, which is works pretty good, I think. And for the body of the basic body, we'll be using this right here. You see that? That's just a piece of yellow foam. That's 2 millimeter yellow foam. Okay. So let's go back to this camera. There we go. I'm going to tie it on a size 10 dry fly hook. Actually, I'm using a wet fly hook because I couldn't find my dry fly hooks tonight. I'm in the process of rearranging my shop. So,
Oh Lord.
All right. So we're just going to stick that in there, and I hope I can do this without really messing things up. I'm going to be using yellow thread. There you go. And this is 70 denier. So what I'm going to do is I want to start putting my thread body on, about 2 eye widths back. And I'm not going to go very far back. Right about there should be good. Now I got to find my scissors. First thing we'll tie in is the foam. Now what I like to do is tie it in with a little bit of extra. So let's see here. Let me try something here. There we go. I just pinned myself so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, a couple of pretty good wraps around that. Now what I like to do is hold this at about a 45 degree and then just clip that off straight. You see that gives me a nice straight piece to get onto it. Okay, so get that tied down really well. And now let me change cameras again. Get over here. Oh, not that one. How about this one? Yeah, there we go. What I'm going to do now is grab a little bit of this elk here. And I'm going to get it from right down in this area here, because I've used this in the past and it's pretty good stuff. I'm not going to use a whole lot of it. There we go. What about that much right there?
Nice.
And we're going to clean it off really good. And then I'll grab my hair stacker and slide it in there.
I'm in.
Huh? Take that out of there. Now, a little trick that Amy taught me and Al Beatty taught me that has bothered me for years. I'm going to clip off. Oops, let me change cameras again. Sorry. Well, let me do it on this camera. I'm going to clip off this stuff right here. There we go. And I think Amy did that about a week or so back. She showed how to do that. Okay, let me go back to my telephone. There we go. Now I'm going to measure this so that it comes to right about the end of the hook. You'll notice that I still got all that foam on there. Now, there's a reason for that. So right about there is where I want to tie it in. Okay. Couple of loose wraps and then come straight up on it. Now I'm holding it really tight and I'm going to crank this down really good and tie it in there. Okay. And that gives me a pretty good wing. And you'll notice I got a really nice taper here. Now I'm going to cut this guy off just a tad bit beyond where the wing is.
Nice.
Now, for the hackle, we're going to grab some hackle. Let me change cameras again. Watch what I'm doing here. Wrong camera. I'll get these cameras figured out here in a minute. There we go. Okay, let me get that out of here. I'll take a piece that looks pretty good. So I'm going to use that. And I actually want this part down here because I want this hackle to be a little bit longer than the size 10 hook that I'm using. So, and we'll clean it off really good. Do a little clipping. And my scissors have gotten magnetic on me. Okay. Now I'm going to do something that I picked up and I can't even remember where I got it from. But I'm going to clip off a little bit of this feather right here. Like this and like this. And if you look, now can you see what that gives me? A kind of a little bit of an angle on there. So that gives me something to tie in with for the thread to grab. And now I'm going to choose some of these lighter browns right here. And I think this one will work. And do the same thing with this one. Trim it down, flip it off. And give it a haircut. Okay. I'm going to put my two hackles together so they're facing the same way. And I like to tie them. And I know a lot of people say shiny side up, dull side up. I've never been able to figure that out. So I just tie them in together like that. Amy, maybe you can enlighten me on that someday. Okay, little 45-degree angle, loose wrap, loose wrap, loose wrap, tight wrap. There we go. I'm going to put the brown on first.
John, do you want to switch back on your other camera?
Oh, sorry. Yes. I usually do this in OBS Studio, but I couldn't get that to work tonight. Sorry about that.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay. Now we're just going to, I'm going to bring this thread, I'm going to hit the thread right there. And now I'm going to wrap forward and just palmer this about 4 or 5 times. There we go. Don't want to crowd the eye like I usually do. Okay. Couple of wraps. Okay. And now we'll do the badger hack or the grizzly hackle. And we'll do the same thing with it. I don't need to. And I will palmer it through the previous hackle wrap. Okay. Put that off. Okay. Now, I usually had to get up and get my tools. I usually go ahead and just do this with my fingers, but my hands are so rough with this, with the dryness and everything, that I'm going to have to use this little tool here. Okay. So we'll put a quick whip finish on it. Watch out, you don't capture all those hackles. And that is the pewter ball foam stonefly. And clean off some of these errant fibers. It's quick, it's easy, and that was Don's thing. Effective, easy to tie, and quick. Oops. Oh, lovely. Well, the hackle came off.
Because you're on camera.
Yeah, on the camera too, right? So I'll get that later. But anyway, that's the Don Pewterbaugh foam stone. Now he had several other flies that he tied that were really quite interesting. The last time I was out there and I saw Don, he and I fished for half a day. And when we were all done, we went over to his house and met Polly. Polly was there. Polly is Don's wife. And Don gave me this fly right here. Now, this is the latest version of his stonefly. And you can see he's made a lot of additions to it. And the foam is kind of an orangish and brown two-tone, and it's 2 strips of 2 millimeter on there. But the basic design is the same, except you'll notice he added some wing kind of things behind here. And then this is another one that he gave me. Obviously, I will never fish these. This is his foam salmon fly. You can see that it's pretty much the same basic pattern.
Yep.
What I thought was interesting though is that, look at the bottom. I don't know if let's see here. Let me do this. Look at the bottom of that foam. See what he did?
That's really cool.
Yeah, put dots on it. And the last one that he gave me, and I'm not sure what this is. This one right here. Put the vise. It's a little easier that way. I have no idea what that is. But that is the most realistic bug I think I've seen. And that's not a simple fly to tie, I wouldn't think.
That's a catfish fly.
Is that what that is?
It's got whiskers.
Yeah, it's got whiskers and it's got all kinds of weird stuff to it. But yeah, there's another fly that he tied that he introduced me to many, many years ago. And that was the Don Pewterbaugh Mini Muddler Minnow. And if you go out on the Umpqua site and go to Signature Tires, they list that, but there is no place where they show a picture of it. And that's an extraordinarily effective fly. So Amy and Mick, someday, one of these things, I will demonstrate how to tie that fly. Another rare, very simple fly to tie and a very effective fly. In fact, that was my go-to fly for many, many years until I discovered Tenkara fishing.
I knew it was coming.
It was
I knew it was coming.
No, I still use it when I Tenkara fish. In fact, I used it at Venice Springs last year, but I wasn't very effective. So that's it. Anybody have any questions?
I like that one. I was tying along with you, John. It's a good, simple pattern. It gives you a lot of different materials to use.
Yep.
And I really like that.
Yeah, the mini muddler, Don used to use that in his class because it taught you how to use, well, the tail is squirrel, the body is gold tinsel, the wing is deer, and then the head is spun deer. So you got to cover a lot of different aspects of fly tying in one fly. And it's a lot of fun to tie. I'll show you that one of these days.
Outstanding. So yeah, it was fun. Here's my follow along.
Cool.
So yeah, it was good. I actually kept going, am I supposed to add dubbing back here? But very good. And then I added the antennas on the front. So
actually, I have seen it with dubbing. There's several versions that I have seen tied. Some will tie the foam on and then rib it. You know, rib the thing with thread all the way back forward. I have seen, as you did, I have seen it dubbed. The body is dubbed and then the foam is put on. So yeah, there's a lot of variations to this fly, and I think they're all equally effective. I just wanted to tie the one that he taught me how to tie. So.
And what I love is because sometimes I think when we're doing simple duns and other things too, and we only put one layer of hackle in, as far as those dry flies, the layering too of your hackles, I mean, it creates a completely different, I don't know if I can change this around or not, but like what John showed too, it changes the whole front profile of it. It absolutely spins. I mean, it is just so incredible. The way they fold into each other. So if you're only using one, give two a try, because it's pretty cool the way they layer in and they complement each other too. And I used a rust color and then the grizzly.
Yeah, what you can do is you can actually tie those things in reverse wraps. So tie one clockwise and one counterclockwise. And that gives
and they stand up so perpendicular. And I think that's one of the things too, as we talk about different materials. And, for us, cracklebacks and the telltale sign of a crackleback is the way the hackle lays on this. But I think hackle also, the way you tie it in. So 2 to 3 wraps to anchor it, one behind it, and then just set it aside, 2 to 3 wraps, anchor behind, and then go forward. And that'll give you a little bit more on that perpendicular. It doesn't get mashed down in that, but great presentation, John. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Mick, what else do we have tonight? I know Carl prepped up. So Carl's got some, he did one similar to the one you showed, John. So I don't know if we want to go that direction or if Mick, if you're ready and going.
I could do mine. See if I could find where I'm at and I could pin, see what I'm doing. Okay, mine's a little bit different. Mine looks more of, would be the larva side that, and I kind of integrated almost out as well. I was hoping mine would be used if it was going to say fast water and you needed to get down quick. So it might be part of an attractor fly for 2 nymph styles. This would at least get it down if you wanted something else. So this is what I ended up tying, and it did take a while. So I kind of took a head start. I'll just kind of complete it that way. But basically I used a nymph style hook. The one that I showed you that was complete was a size 10. This one I'm trying a little bit bigger on 8. I don't think I'd ever go any much bigger than this, but I did start with a thread wrap. Then I actually did some lead wire 0.025 to, as I said, I want this kind of heavy. And then I actually did copper with goose biot for the tail. And I actually have some thin top that I'll kind of use the casing. So I'm going to continue with this. I'm also going to be watching my time because I know there's others, and this was very time consuming. So I'm going to start putting in some of the legs. I tried to do 2 at a time, but it just seemed like that was a little bit too much. Actually, I don't want to start there. A couple wraps there, but yeah, these flies took a little bit to tie, and I found out it was just easier to do 1 leg at a time. I was trying to do 2, like some of the really good tires, but that wasn't going to happen with me.
A friend of mine showed me a really easy way to tie those on, but I can't remember what it was.
It just takes a little bit of finesse. And I do like when we had Sun Tao on, when he brought up the Nano Silk, and I bought some. I love this stuff. It is super thin. It doesn't bulk up when you're trying to add to it. So I've been using some dubbing, trying this gold because they've actually showed some gold coloring on some of these. Look really neat. You only want to use a little bit in between the leg segments. Let's see if that will hold.
Mick, just to back up a bit, so you're using goose biots for the legs basically and your tail.
Yes.
Okay.
This is kind of almost nymph style of the pattern where you guys were doing the adults. Mine is the aquatic bugs that are still hanging around at the bottom. So I'm just layering in legs. And I am
really
using
nice smooth wrap on that body there, Mick.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. It looked pretty good. And again, this is, if you've seen any of the trout cam of Bennett right now, I'm actually going to try to sneak in here to pull some of those legs out a little bit.
Now, Mick, you're not having any problems with thread density as you wrap forward. That's always been my experience, that with that new Nano Silk, though it might be solid, I always get so much thread on it that it gets almost as big as the bead head.
Yes, and this Nano Silk, once I'm done this, I will take it off the spool, because right now, the way I have it, you just put a finger there, everything's locked up, you can't see it, but this is the thinnest diameter of Nano Silk, and you can't use this to build up any body with thread. You would waste the whole room to build up any amount on this. This stuff is like Sun Tao was using it on one of his ties with us, and I thought I'd give it a try. This stuff is amazing. It's not silk, it is GSP. So you do have to have some really sharp scissors when you try to cut with this, because it is ground spun polypropylene, so it doesn't want to cut too easy.
Yeah, I found some really cool scissors. I didn't use them tonight, but these right here, I don't know, you may have seen them. They're Weiss, I think Weiss is it makes them. Let me see.
I use what look.
Yeah, WISS. And the nice thing about them, you can replace the blades when they get dull.
Yeah, I use cuticle scissors.
Oh yeah.
These things are really good with that, and you could get in really tight with that stuff.
Yeah, I use those for cutting wire.
Down to my last leg. I'm sorry, I'm taking up probably everyone else's time.
No, I've never seen this done. It's amazing and it's fascinating. Thank you.
No, take your time, Mitt. There's no.
Yep.
There's
Yeah,
always
I
next
have
week.
another meeting if not, we need to do more. So
There's always next week and the week beyond. So
Yeah, we have till the end of time.
yes, that's right. Well, maybe not till the end of time. I mean,
Till the end of somebody's time.
yeah, well, that's true. It'll probably be mine before it's anybody else's. But hey, yeah, I was supposed to go up to the verdigris fishing tomorrow, but unfortunately, my son came down with something. So,
Oh, no.
yeah, and I talked to a good friend of mine. He was up there today, and he got a ton of fish, and he got at least one brown and one rainbow. So he's at halfway through with his Nebraska trout slam.
Woo, outstanding.
Nice.
How many legs do you normally put on?
I do 6. I don't know if you could see that. I'm trying to find
Right there.
That's a good.
right there.
That looks so cool.
But now I'm going to pull this casing over and lock that in. I'm just going to do a quick whip finish on this.
Hey, Mick, would you put UV glue on the top of that casing to?
Solar is dry as bone, good stuff. And that's what you beat me to it. Well,
Thanks.
actually puts a nice little,
Casing on it, right?
yep. It can get kind of thick, which is actually kind of a nice thing. I'm just trying to get that in.
Like a copper john then almost.
Yep.
Yep.
Sorry, I don't want to blind everyone with the UV, but almost done. And so there it is. So it's got a nice casing, got some pretty cool legs to it.
Looks good.
That's a good looking fly, Mick. Very nice. I'd be afraid to fish that one.
Yeah, I'm kind of like this one. I might hold on to this one.
I'll take a dozen of those, Mick.
Trying to spread the legs out. Here you go. So there it is.
Great.
All right. So on.
Yeah, and for all those who, I mean, dubbing's your friend, goose buyouts are your friend. Just keep working it, but great angle on that.
Mick, I want to see you tie that in a size 18 now.
Yeah, I actually did some, but they're for nymphs. No way.
Well, the reason I say that is because the copper johns that I tie down to 18, and I always have a problem with thread. With thread buildup.
Oh yeah, I promised you. Hold on. Let me pull this out of the, so I could at least show you. Sorry, everyone. Okay.
Is that Semper Fly?
Semper Fly. And let me see if you guys could see this, or I'm putting me on pin just so I could move the fly out of the way. You can see that Semper Fly, and it's
18-aught.
18-aught. And this stuff is, I mean, you can barely see it maybe on the camera. It is so thin, but you got to crank on this to bust it, and I can't. But if you're trying to get any body with this, you'll waste the whole spool. You are not going to get any body on this.
Yeah, but it'd be great for small flies, that you're using for some. I'm going to have to get some of that for the flies.
I just bought some from the wholesale fly company, whatever it's called.
Oh, they've got some? Okay.
Yeah, and it was like $3.95 a spool.
Yeah, it's
They had
Stuff.
multi-colors. So I picked
Even
up
at this,
white, black, and a gray.
spun hair with it. So yeah, that Semperfli is like my favorite right now. Go to. You just need really sharp scissors when you use it. That's all I got.
Nice job, Mitch.
Thank you.
Really good.
Mick, I know Amy mentioned that with that type of thread, you get a lot of buildup inside your bobbin. Have you found that problem?
I have not seen it yet. You know, I'm not sure if I've used it enough to have seen that. But, no, I have not had any buildup on it yet.
Okay.
I'm kind of looking at it now and I don't see anything on it. But
a lot of the GSP or some of the other ones too, just take your threader and just run it through there to clean it. And that usually will clear it out as far as any buildup. But generally you'll see more from the older style waxed threads where it'll actually, if you switch over and you had red on there and then you switch to white, you'll start picking up a tint because it'll start pulling out that wax. But just clean your bobbins and you should be good on that. You won't have, it won't be an inconvenience.
Amy, you've dated yourself now. I thought I was the only one that remember wax thread.
I have some. I have some right here because I do use other colors.
Yeah, me too. Beauty made that by the ton.
All right, Carl, you are up and ready to go here.
Well, I'll go unless somebody else wants to go.
It's whoever. It's a toss-up, but we saw your fly when we first started up. So go ahead and show us that beast.
This is a Helgamite pattern. Found this on YouTube yesterday afternoon, so I came downstairs and said, I'm going to try that. So I made this one, and this is the first one I made. And so, I mean, it's a pretty heavy fly. I've caught fish on a Helgamite before, or I should say I caught a fish on a Helgamite. It wasn't this big. It was a little smaller. I got some smaller ones that I tied from, gosh, many moons ago, and they're not near as detailed as this one is. But when I was fishing in the Smokies a long time ago, we were at a fly shop in Nashville, and or maybe over towards there somewhere. Anyway, not Nashville. I can't remember the name of the town. But anyway, we stopped in this fly shop, and I asked the guy in the fly shop what this was, and he says, "Oh, it's a Helgamite." I said, "Do fish eat them?" He goes, "Yeah." So I bought one of them, and the kids were playing in the stream down below me, and I went upstream to go fish, and I saw one of these Helgamite crust, the shell sitting on the bank, and I thought, I'll try one of those. So I pulled it on and tied it on and dropped it into a deep pool and pulled the fish out. So they do work. So anyway, get started here. Let's see. Go ahead and pin my screen here. So I'm going to use a size 8 streamer hook. And I'm also going to wrap the body with lead wire 0.025. We're going to use, where did my IOTs go? Might have got ahead of myself a little bit. I'm going to use some of these. I don't know if these are turkey or if these are goose. But I think I bought these at. Hold on, honey. I think I bought these at Hobby Lobby. I think I got them, and they seem to work out well. And yeah, Hobby Lobby.
Oh.
I'm going to use just a black possum thread for the dubbing, and I'm going to wrap the body with some black wire, kind of toughen it up. And
that's Hobby Lobby's Omaha's fly shop.
So I'm going to start the hook, and the guy I watched online did this. He says he just took a hook and he went halfway and he bent it and called it good. So anyway, take the lead wire. I'm going to start about halfway back between the bend of the hook and the bend that I just put in. And then I'm going to go up the shank here, right up to, I'm going to leave about about a ½ inch. And I'm going to tie that in. Wrap the end of it around. And I'm using a 16-aught black thread. Or no, not 16-aught, excuse me, 6-aught. Use a little thicker thread on this because there's quite a bit of thread wrapping on it. So get that kind of more or less centered. Build a thread dam behind it. And a whole lot of wrapping. Get a thread dam in front of it, build it up. Go back and forth a little bit, build it up. Okay, first step is to get the back tails apart. Put a little bit of a dubbing and build like a little dubbing ball right there. And I'm going right to the bend of the hook there where I smashed the barb down on this. And we go up here. I'm going to get a nice ball because what you're going to do is put the biots on each side of the ball so that it helps them spread out. So you can see that there's a differentiation. I've got the dubbing just a little bit thicker than the lead, and that's enough to get it going here. Now, if I'd have been thinking, I'd have cut ahead of these a little bit more, but so these turkey biots or goose biots, they usually have one direction, one way or the other, and you want to flare it out. So I put the biot parallel to the shank and hold it down with my finger. And I like to get 2 good wraps on it and stop. Then I go to the other side, try to even it up as best I can and press it down against the shank. Get a couple wraps on it, try to get it in there. And then I'll wrap back into it a little bit. And I'll just wrap the rest of that stuff in. And then I go back to my dubbing. And this process repeats for 6 more times or 4 more times. Whoops, got ahead of myself. Next step is to take your wire scissors, cut off some black wire, And the first one I did, I put the wire on first like the guy did on the video, but this works better for me putting it back here because it doesn't get in the way and mess up your tails. So put that off to the side. And this really isn't, I don't even know if the Helgamite's any kind of a stone fly. I don't think so. Anybody know? The Dobbs fly, I think.
Yeah, Dobson fly. It's a larva of the Dobson fly.
Okay, so another biot. And like Amy says, you love them, you love these things or hate them, but if you learn how to do it, I guess, I don't know if it improves your dexterity or hurts your dexterity. I don't know. But so I'm taking the biot and I'm pressing it up against the dubbing, and you can't see it from there, but I'm pressing it up against the dubbing and here. And what that does is it helps it come out when you squeeze it down on there. It pulls it out and you put tension on it. Kind of play with it a little bit to get it back on track. I don't know the right formula really for all this. And then I'll just get there and I'll wrap those in. Eventually, as you get in there, you got to cut them off when you get up there, because otherwise you get too much material up here at the head, and that kind of messes up the proportions a little bit. So I'm going to cut some more. It's kind of a fun fly to tie, but it's a little laborious. It's not something that you do just to go tie a dozen of them in an afternoon, I don't think. At least I wouldn't. So I get a few more out and more dubbing. So you make a few of these, you finally learn how to use biots, and you finally learn how to dub. I don't know, you ever learn, but.
Yeah, but if you're like me, you learn and you forget it by tomorrow.
Well, that's it. I mean, I've tied so many flies here the last 3 or 4 years since I got involved with Healing Waters, and I look back and I'm like, what did I use on that one?
You know, I've been fly fishing for close to 50 years, but I started fly tying back in '77. But I think between 1977 and a year ago, I might have tied 150 flies. Since that time, I've probably tied close to 500. So I want to thank you all for getting me into this new hobby, just what I needed.
You could spend that retirement money on something.
Oh, don't worry. My wife has that all figured out. Let me tell you. In fact, we're in the middle of remodeling our kitchen right now.
It's okay. I'm investing in Home Shopping Network.
Yeah, I'm investing in Amazon.
Earl, I like the way you talked about that with the dubbing and using your dubbing to help position on the buyouts. I think it's a really important part to kind of anchor them so they have that little bit of flair too, and they tie in well. And Mick, you did that too. But that's what I was saying is dubbing works, especially when you're trying to work with the buyouts. Helps get that position automatically. Sure. It doesn't lay back down along the hook shank.
Absolutely. You know, I've seen that particular fly many, many times in the fly shops. And I've often wondered how the heck do they tie that? So thank you, Carl. You just taught me something new. I'm gonna have to tie some of these up this week. I'm not sure where I'm going to use them here in Nebraska, but I'm going to tie them up.
They'll go for bass. They'll go for anything, John. It's a good pattern.
Catfish.
Yeah, but they're kind of hard to cast with a Tenkara.
Oh,
Just do the same thing that you keep doing. Long, stick it out there and just hold it over the water.
There you go.
Just cast them into the bushes, and then it'll scare the real insect life around their out. Then you can switch back to your regular flies.
It's nice and heavy. It'll pull out all 12 feet of that line on the Tenkara. It's nice and heavy. You don't even have to do much of it. You'll just kind of like whip it, and that big heavy fly will just pull out that whole 12 feet.
Well, there's no pulling out to be done because it's not contained any place. But yeah, this isn't Western fly fishing. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You can have these. I think these are kind of things that hatch on hot summer days. I think. I don't know much about them, but that's what I remember. It was hotter than the blazes, and
of course we don't have any hot summer days here in Nebraska.
No, you don't.
I don't know, for some little bit of time in Oregon on a river, you could turn over a lot of rocks and find the casings as well as on the side. So
now,
yeah, they're creepy looking, but effective bugs.
Well, I took them to work today. The guys always like to see the stuff that I've been working on. So I took these in. I said, what does that look like? One guy goes, I don't know. It looks like something that might catch a fish. So, all right. So we got those 3 patterns there. I'm going to trim these off here. That's kind of where it starts getting a little bit tricky here. Next step is to wrap the wire. You kind of got to intermingle the wire in between the legs on this pattern. So I'm going to go out, and if you see here, I made these 2 a little longer, and I'm just going to try to shorten up the presentation here a little bit, but I don't know that the fish really even know, but going to kind of work.
If I see one crawling across the floor, I definitely want to try and step on that sucker.
Yeah. And so you can kind of help with position as you wrap this thing forward. And I'm not counter wrapping this, but you can kind of, if you need a little bit of help with your legs somewhere, you can, this is a good spot to work it because you can work that wire up underneath around it if you need to. And get a good tight wrap over here.
Good. We hear people like black and yellow marabou.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'll have to bring my son when I come before we leave.
Yeah. These will do good. And do that. Drop it.
All right. The next step is I'm going to take some pull it out here. Some dark brown Swiss straw. You can use black. We're going to put a little bit of UV resin on it, and
halfway decent bathing suit.
but it makes a really nice. It makes a really nice shell. I wish I had some black. I don't have it, but all I got is the brown, and probably works just as well.
For you to be in the bathing suit for getting burned.
Yeah.
I might just, hang out at the beach, but go shopping and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just going to get like a tankini and then get a cap that goes around it.
Okay, I'm going to tie the
stuff on now.
Tie the Swiss straw in here, and then back to dubbing. Now we're going to start building this, and this is where it gets a little tricky because you got to get a dubbing ball in here, wrap it up, and then fold it over, put another set of legs on, and then try to cram it all in here to the front here. So it can get a little tricky here. I'm trying to make sure I build up the body to keep it at some sort of a, you know, try to get some sort of a taper here. This is a little bulky one, but so a little trick on this, you can take your bodkin and you want to just fold it over and hold it down like that for the first shell, then wrap it around and then pull it back over itself. And you want to wrap back into it where you're digging into it a little bit back here. So when you pull it over, you'll build your next shell. Kind of twist that out a little bit. So more black dubbing. I have to get some more black dubbing now.
Or you could make your own.
Well, I could, and I do that. Guess I could just get some yarn and do that. I've never tried that.
Yeah, I use, I forget the name of it, but I use a kind of yarn, a polypropylene yarn that works really, really well for dubbing. I tell you, with the supply chain, the way it's been, I've had to start making a lot of my own stuff.
Amy, what about cat hair?
I don't know. Let's look at Kip Tail and see if anybody calls PETA on me. First time I used calf tail, and Walt had to call me the next day going, "What did you say, cat tail?" So anyways, it's kind of an inside joke on that. But yes, that's not probably, it could be a good part of a dubbing. But yes, cat, dog, the underfur, you guys all with your pets, brush them. That makes good dubbing.
Yeah, I had a tricolored collie when the kids were growing up. And and if you ever had a collie, you know that you brush them every week. And I had more of that sable color dubbing than you could use in a lifetime.
Yep. But that, I mean, if you need a little more chopped up, get yourself a little coffee grinder and you're off and running.
Absolutely.
Or just buy a rabbit, you know, you can do that. And I don't mean like buy a rabbit as a pet and then just brush it.
Or just take a pair of clippers with you when you're driving, and when you find one, just stop and clip him off.
There is a funny little meme about how, you know, fly tires, you look at roadkill a whole different way.
Yeah, Don Puterbaugh, actually the one that taught me about that clipping fur from dead animals on the line on the side of the road.
Yeah.
If you read any articles about him in the Denver Post, you'll find out that when he was a young man back east, that's what he did all the time.
Yeah, till you get a skunk from the wrong direction.
Absolutely, but I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier clipping that dead skunk than it is clipping a live one.
No, I'm saying if the skunk hasn't sprayed yet, then you might have a whole different ride home. Don't pick it up from the wrong side.
So I actually have a fly in my box that a guy in Cape Girardeau that I know pretty well from a long time ago from our TU chapter down there. He had a fly called the skunk fly. And he found a dead skunk on the side of the road and decided he was going to take that. And he had some long story about how he did whatever and got it not to smell, but I thought that was a little bit far-fetched. So Amy, a funny story on the calf tail.
Yeah.
when I was down in Alabama, so what I did is I double wrapped this and I tied the Swiss straw back on front. Now I'm going to make the front legs on it ahead of that, because this part here is actually going to be the part of the head where these legs come out from, and we're going to bend those around. So when I was down in Alabama, Pastor Mark was a big supporter of Healing Waters. And Pastor Mark asked me if I would do a presentation on Healing Waters because he wanted the church to donate money for it. And he says, I want people to know what Healing Waters is. And so I said, sure. So I took a bunch of stuff with me just to put on a table, just to show people kind of what some of this stuff was. And dummy me, I bring the calf tail. And this young girl comes up and says, what is that? And I said, it's calf tail. And she said, did you kill a cat to get that? And I'm like, no, it's a calf, like a calf. And she goes, well, did you kill the calf? And I said, no, I didn't kill the calf. I said, it got stuck in a fence. So she went along with it. So, right. So now we're about done here. So if you see what I did there, I basically made the head there, using it and backing it back over so you can have a full head there. Now, these little suckers, there's a little bit of a trick to this, but I'm going to go ahead and whip finish this. So basically you want to bend the legs here a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm using my needle, my bodkin, and I'm going to go and I'm going to press it down and fold them with a little bit of pressure to try to bend them forward. So it gives them a little bit more life. I'm going to do the same thing back here, where I'm going the opposite direction here. Kind of pin it back. Then fluff it up at the bottom just a little bit. Give it some little buggy look there. And that's basically it, other than putting the resin on it.
Carl, I really like that.
So
I do too, and thank you.
Yeah, looks good.
I've wondered how that fly was tied for a long time. Thank you.
Oh, you're
welcome. I gotta leave. I got another meeting, guys. We'll see you all next week. Have a great one.
All right,
Bye.
thanks, John.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
Great flies. Great flies tonight. So on the I guess our last minute, who wants to see what for next week? And are we going to continue on this? I think it's good to see the different stages, even though we kind of, obviously with stonefly, it's like, okay, well, I think it goes from this to this, and then it's done. You know, the two big patterns we know of as far as that nymph pattern that Mick had tied, and then also the more hopper style that John tied. Great. I mean, on the other, what Carl just showed too. I mean, just a good all around fly. But do we want to continue on this as far as where we move around? I think it's great to see different tires doing different things. Anybody have a request for next week?
Trying to think of a bug. I don't know, mayfly? Are they nymphs?
Yep.
Nipples?
They do a lot of different, I mean, mayfly is a whole different, and we're coming into that for us, you know, in May-ish kind of, I mean, but yeah, mayfly. That looks
all right,
like
let's do mayfly.
You guys want to do the stages, or you just want to do some dry flies, or just do patterns we use? I'd like to see what other people use in Missouri personally.
As far as all on one, or you want to see the different stages, Carl?
I don't care either way. I guess I'd like to just see the different stages, but I'd also like to see some patterns what other people use around here.
Happy to. I think, yeah, mayfly, there's so many different parts of that. Anybody want to volunteer to jump in and tie any stage of a mayfly next week?
I'll try to do nymphs. That's what I like doing.
All right. Anybody else?
That's my gig.
That is your gig, but you're good at your gig.
I like the nymphs.
Hey, do we know anything before we get off here? Do we know anything more about this weekend?
Mostly we had you and Roger and Mick. We can easily get together on Saturday or Sunday. The weather looks great too, so I don't know what everybody's availability is, but we can do that. We haven't sent out anything yet. We were kind of waiting to see if we had more volunteers, but we've got a few. We can run it if you guys want to.
Margie and I are ready for this weekend, so.
Okay, well, I will send out the invitation and we'll be out there. And
we're just going to do it one day, right?
Just the one day, correct.
Hey, Mitch, yeah. I just want to show this is what I tied. These will be I'm going to cut the hooks off, but here's the caddis, size 10 caddis flies.
Outstanding.
It's red, white, and blue. I tried to put a little patriotic caddis fly there.
That's cute.
Perfect. So, yep, we will.
So, let's see. Looks like Sunday is going to be the warmer of the 2 days, but it doesn't really matter to me.
Either day works for me.
Want to do it Saturday?
Sure.
Or Sunday? I don't care.
Doesn't matter to me.
Is this with participants or just us figuring things out amongst ourselves?
We can send it out to participants. I mean, the idea was participants, but
yeah.
We can send it out and I think get a test run and get it set up. What starting time for Saturday?
You want to do 10?
Sure.
9?
Well, how much? I mean, if we're going to actually do a trial with participants, we may need longer period of time or not.
Well, I think we're probably going to have to get there and set up a little bit before that, and then get it all set up, and then invite the participants to come out for the casting portion of it.
So how long do you anticipate this casting trial would take?
I think from the original email that went out, it was Steve was saying, come out for a couple hours, do a cast, bring your own lunch, and then we go back again at it. If we have some brand new folks who show up, I think right now it's going to be on availability on this, but I think we might need a couple more to determine who's going in April. But I think, we can definitely get a test run going for this weekend, make sure we can lay out everything and that it's all clean. So I'm okay if 2 participants show up, I'm okay with that.
So do you have any kind of diagrams or literature on that?
Yep, we have it all laid out. There's a whole letter of instruction, and so it's all measured out and for what we need and all that stuff too. But I think it was just more a matter of time frame and who was in town. So
I've got a long 150-foot tape that I can bring. What else?
Perfect.
Chairs.
Why don't
you have hula hoops?
Where's this at?
Emmenegger. It's off of 44 and the outer road. It's right in Sunset Hills. So I'll send out something. I was
44 and 270.
Yep, right off of it. It's right in Sunset Hills City, and so I will send out the information on that.
Okay.
Okay.
And
so
then,
what time?
Did you see that email I'd sent Amy?
Sorry.
Did Did you see an email I sent to Steve with equipment and stuff that we might need?
Yeah, that's for the regional side of it, trying to work with Mike Swanson. So yeah, that's for Bennett. That's for the Vets Fish Free part on that too, which same thing, but yeah, absolutely. So we've got some of the equipment, and then we will put the rest together for this weekend. I will, I'm thinking I'll check with him over dinner tonight. And then I think I sent that one meeting for us to all connect on Thursday for that would be for the April one. But this one for this Saturday, I will put that together and get it out. And any St. Louis volunteers who want to come out, any St. Louis participants, we'll just run through the casting.
Okay, yeah, because the only semi-difficult thing that you guys are a lot closer would be, like I said, suggesting those heavier weight leaders.
Yep, and that's what the national one, it went to 0X. The national letter of instruction came out, and that's what we're any participant who goes out there and is in the casting competition at Bozeman will use a 0X leader so that it doesn't have any play on that. So we'll use the heaviest. I think I have a 3. I think I have 4. You know, as far as the 9 foot, and then by the time you tie the yarn on, but with the letter of instruction, yeah. So we did actually got away from the 5X is what they used in the past, which a little bit of wind and that makes a whole game difference, but we'll go with the heavier one too.
Okay, current letter of instruction in the volunteer corner, or you'll send that out, or where can I get to it?
I can email it to you. It just got approved and done. And then we have one more meeting tomorrow night just to make sure nobody has one final last word on it and on that part of it. But it is going with a standardized TFO rod and reel and line, all from TFO. So no custom built. And we are pre-doing all of their leaders coming in. So they'll all be 9 foot 0X. On that with the yarn tied on as well, and just level the field. So there was a lot of confusion as far as when you weigh out the first 30 feet and it's got to weigh 146 grains and all that other fun stuff. So that's all just, we're a little bit ahead of the game because again, that's all going live out to all the program leads Wednesday, the 16th. But we've got all the other information. So Mike had sent some of the information out, and we were just working off the previous ones that it just had to be a 5 weight. So, and the distance, all of the track has not changed at all. Nothing has changed as far as the field, the layout, all the hula hoops, pipe pans, all of that is exactly the same as it was in 2019. So, yep, we will get it, and I'll put this together in the CRM, send it out, and again, we'll shoot for 10 a.m. I guess on Saturday morning, and then do our little casting. I think we're going to need another one too, because I don't know. You know, ideally we get a couple weeks on this, as far as give people at least a good week and a half to plan to get there. And so we'll probably do something about the first week of April too, and try to get some more participants out there, get them qualified to come down to Bennett, and then do the cast off. Because it's
okay,
our one
so
St. Louis.
We're going to meet at 10, or are we going to have start participants that might come at 10?
Participants at 10?
Sure.
I don't know.
Let's do
Participants at 10, volunteers there at 9.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Okay.
Yep.
9 it is Sunday.
Yep.
Okay.
Saturday.
No, my phone, I can't get up.
I'll see
So,
you on
this
Monday.
time.
All right, I'll put this together and send it out. And it looks like volunteers, I'll set up for 9 a.m. Why don't we go for that? We'll invite the participant at 10 a.m. and run with that.
Sounds good.
All right. See you guys there.
All right.
All right. Thank you all.
Have you talked to Ken House?
Thanks.
Is he coming? Ken House?
He was just over here yesterday. No, Terry, we didn't talk about that, but he just dropped off a check. But he'll be on the invite, so I'll make sure he knows about that too. He's
Okay.
got the St. Pat's. He's got their thing on Thursday, but I'll double check and see if he is available and ready to come out.
Come on out to the Dogtown St. Patrick's Day Parade. I'll be on the float.
Oh, really?
Some thunder. I know.
We'll wave at you. I'll be sitting safely in my home on St. Patrick's Day. Night all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye.